Hello, friends. Welcome to the new home of Sophia's Emporium. And my name is Suze Pratt. And my dear friend, Mr. Vic, is with me today to christen our journey. So, namaste, sir.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you for being here and always being such a dear, wonderful friend to me. I much appreciate it. But for those of you, though, the people that don't know us, Mr. Vic, what we're doing is we're explaining this new platform today that's never occurred before. So, for the people that don't know me, my name is Suze Pratt. I'm a holistic stylist. I'm a spiritual researcher and a student of life at the Great Mystery School here on planet Earth at this time. I really want to expand where I'm at, and I want to help others along on their journey. So I really don't want to use titles or definitions for who I am, but I felt like maybe I should tell people a little about me because no one knows who I am, Vic. And of course, you and I have been together since the beginning. So we're going to share a little bit about my journey today. Is there anything you'd like to share with the people that will hear this in the future?
No, I'm very curious as to what exactly where we're going with this. I'm still a little vague,
Okay.
so I'd appreciate it if you could excuse my voice.
All right. Well, let me tell you. Oh, go ahead. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, if you could clarify the objective for today.
Yes. What I wanted to do was give people an idea, Vic, of the journey so far, because as you know, Sophia's Emporium is a diverse show with so many different topics. And originally I had thought of it like a variety show and, to just kind of go with it and provide uplifting things along with the hard-hitting facts. And so what I want to do now, because I have a Zoom Room Pro account, I can have a show every day of the week. And we can focus. Yeah, and we can focus on specific subjects. So, for example, we will have an online wellness center, and that's Hair Emporium Unplugged, which for those of the people that don't know yet, I was a salon owner for 30 years. I opened my salon at 21, and I'm here in Ferguson where business has been crumbled to the ground. And so this journey has also been about taking the salon online and helping people. I offer safe, natural alternatives to the toxic chemicals in the hair industry. So body care, skin care, Hair Emporium Unplugged, one day of the week. Now, of course, we have to have a strong presence when it comes to spiritual science and things of a spiritual nature, things that make your heart sing, things that uplift you. And we're blessed to have a friend of yours, Monica Lampy, coming on board. So say, for example, Monica would like to have Sundays. And so what that means is now we're going to create a show on Sundays that specifically is geared to alternative natural healing therapies. So Monica will be able to showcase what she does. I'll probably do castor oil packs, you see, and of course we have other friends that are into these things. So the last time you and I left off, we were discussing the potential for healing with castor oil for you with your kidneys. So at this point, we would jump into some really deep research and subject matter. And then here we are together in this virtual home, and I can walk you through doing it, and you can be there wherever you're at, taking care of yourself.
Now,
Yeah.
right now you're recording, and are you broadcasting at the same time? Is that why you're doing it at a particular time?
Well, the way I believe this is happening, and of
Okay.
course, I'm computer illiterate, and that's still a running joke. But I believe what happens is after we're done
We're all computer
broadcasting,
illiterate to one
we
degree or another.
right, we turn
Yeah.
the camera off,
Mhm.
and then I am able to upload it. So it would go right to YouTube or Facebook or wherever I chose to
Oh,
send
okay. And that's a feature of Zoom Pro, I
of
take it.
Zoom Room Pro, correct? And
Excellent.
yeah, and in Zoom Room Pro, we
Hmm.
can have up to 50 of our friends. So
Hmm.
what I'm doing is as uh, as this field of dreams is being built, we're looking at a collective of people that are so diverse. And you figure if we have 6 subjects going a week and we have 50 people, you can see the
Hmm.
potential. We might be working with numbers of 7 on this screen that you see right here in front of us, because I did watch a few technical videos. You can
Hmm.
hold up to 25 of your friends on screen right here.
I
So,
see. Hmm.
yeah, it's really pretty exciting. And if this goes as well as I imagine that it should,
Okay.
we
Well,
can
that's good. I'm
easily,
glad.
yeah, we can easily invite up to 500 people. Now, sure,
Yeah, I like where you're going with it because I see that you're flowing from your own inner reality, and it's something that you're building consciously, and I think that's good. It's better than following the someone else's path and ways of doing things.
I'm not very good at that.
But that I'm just saying, I agree, and I like what you're saying about how you're going about this.
I
That's
think
very
it's
nice.
I think it's gonna help all of us more than what we can imagine. And of course, when you have a heart-centered group that is
Hmm.
talented, I mean, like one of the guys, Mr. Vic, I don't want to say
Hmm.
his name yet, but
Hmm.
he is the guy that has created the universal calendar, because this Gregorian time is for the birds, right? So he's
I've heard
got,
of it. Yeah.
yeah, so he has this beautiful artwork, and he's always sharing it with me. And during our time together, I did refer to the universal time instead of the Gregorian time a couple times. I have felt a little guilty that I haven't went over to his website to learn, because I really still have a hard time getting around, and this is
Hmm.
his world, so
Hmm.
I don't venture out of that too much. But anyhow, this dear man has so much to share with us, and on top of it, he plays the guitar too. So can you imagine, one day we're hanging out, we're doing our thing, and instead of having to worry about feeding music in, or what our background energy is, we might get a concert.
Well,
Yes.
that's all very interesting. I can sort of see your vision, and yeah, it sounds good. Worth
Okay.
going after.
So we've covered 2, which would be the wellness center and the
Hmm.
alternative healing therapies, because those are really 2 different things. And of course, you know how much I put into a show. So I think that we would be doing a disservice to everyone if we were to combine those. Now, I have a wonderful friend, Mr. Vic, that I've known since she was a little girl. And
Hmm.
she had natural skills in communicating with the other realms. So she is an intuit and a medium. And
Hmm.
so when we get into our, I don't really want to call it off planet, because the veil is so thin now. There's so much interaction, and we're going to think of the right word to convey the
Hmm.
message that we would like to send. And we want to help people and not be afraid, because one of the things that gets on my last nerve is that people these days are so stressed and so oppressed and so worn down that they have no time to think about their eternal now beyond their physical body. So I would also like to bring a format that takes the sting out of that thing that we call death. I want to explore that. And of course, Dan Winter talks about that. And for a long time, I've known how to be very still when there's a great deal of stress going on. And I get very quiet and I bring myself into my center. And it was wild because when I was going down the rabbit hole with his information, he said an interesting thing. He said that what we are to learn to do is to be still enough to drive that tornado, Mr. Vic, and move it in a direction that is the most beneficial. So, I've experienced going through that doorway with a dear friend of mine. She ran the Waldorf school. I told you about that. Mm-hmm. But I think that we really can do a great service to folks by letting them understand that there is no judgment where they are on their path. They're all eternal beings. They're all created a matter, unless they're a clone.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe one day we'll even, there was just a guy the other day on Facebook that lives and breathes and talks, but he has no heart.
Right.
And I think
sounds like a psychopath.
Well, yeah, but okay, so that's another problem we got on the table, my friend, is and I know, and we've had a whole lot of conversations about this, that truly we are all one. Now,
that's cool.
If we imagine ourselves like little bubbles that all overlap each other and are hanging out in this, big bubble, that does not mean that every bubble in that globe we want to rub up next to. Just like the different parts of the body. If you're an arm, you don't want to be over in the ear section. You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
And recently, I was confronted with an entity that wants everyone to come into his energy field, and then he will distribute them.
Mm-hmm.
And my own self, Mr. Vic, I believe that even though we're all one, what each one of us do individually creates something that is so unbelievable that has never happened on the face of this planet, versus when everybody gets in a collective, okay, and we really don't know if they're moral or ethical, we don't know how they vibrate, we don't know nothing about them. And we say, okay, we're going to have a consensus and we all get a vote. Well, whoever's running the consensus, because if you start out with 3 people in a consensus, right? Me, you, and Monica, and I'm, trying to be the boss and conversate or manipulate both of you to vote the way I want.
Right.
Well, then we're going to have the same system as we've had on this planet that has disrespected Mother Earth and the children of the kingdom. So that's why I had to break from the Conscious Consumer Network, because I really do feel like it is only through my individual journey and loving myself and loving others unconditionally without being abused that I can do this whole initiation, eternity, and the passing moment. I'm in it for the long haul.
whether you like it or not.
Right. And a lot of people, I think, because so much of the humanity has been ripped from them already, that they just are tired. They're tired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
I understand.
right. And you know what? There is really no judgment in any of the things that this group will come to say.
Can you excuse me for 1 second? I need to grab a fan that's here because I'm in
Absolutely. I love your attic, by the way.
Yeah, this is my house in the woods.
Oh, it's awesome. It's
thank you.
just beautiful. Everybody can see the background with the beautiful glassware.
You probably think this is a pyramid, right?
That's a little handheld fan, right?
Yeah, I got to put it on because I stopped coming up here a while ago because I was having some issues with certain individuals, and unfortunately, it created some stress in my relationship with my wife. So I said, no problem, I just won't go up there anymore. So I didn't.
Well,
anyway,
you know, and you've lived a very expansive life. You know that everything that's going on the planet, or whether it's the lineup of the planets, that those things really do affect people. So that's why I've always said that it's never personal when the people that love you hurt you, or that you get in a fight with them.
Yeah, it's a never-ending story, and we always find ourselves learning something more every day, and every day we think we have come to the point where we really have understanding, or understanding, as you want to say, like to say, and we just find that there's more steps. There's always, I think, like James puts it, we just move the wall out. So you think you've passed it, you go, okay, oh, well, there's the wall again, etc. So, but that's all part of the illusion.
Yeah.
It's all part of the illusion. I'm really sorry with this. Boy, I don't know what happened to me. Anyway.
You're fine.
But that's, huh?
I said, you're fine.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
And so, so for me, it's just understanding that it's the illusion, the matrix, and realizing that it's all a dream, and we're just experiencing a facet of a dream world that is real, that feels real. And I like David Icke's perspective on that too, because that's pretty much how he sees it as well. And so, I think that's the important thing to try to get across to most people today, is to just make them understand that or help them understand, because you can't make anybody do anything, but help them understand through example, that we are living in this type of a reality, and that we can change it to whatever it is we want.
Right.
And living in this particular version of the illusion that we're in now. It's interesting, because just so many clues out there that are out there waking folks up. I think, as I mentioned, the Matrix, I think, is an excellent metaphor for what's going on. The movie gives a lot of clues, although most people really, I don't think, get it, but it is nonetheless a clue, and it's right there in front of you.
And okay, so there's the thing. Now, of course, what we're getting ready to do, even though it's real like this, and they're, real concepts, we are using our imagination and a state that is similar to dream time, because I'll tell you the truth. Growing up my entire life with nightmares and premonitions and visions of this very time that we're living in, it has been such a blessing to have restful sleep. And this has been since 2007. But I'll say this too. A lot of people ask me, well, Suze, I mean, what's that like? You're telling me you hear celestial music in your head when you're asleep, or that you hear the little voices talking to you like they're instructing or reading out of a book. It's just a flow of words that are something that I feel and express every day. So, you know, some people get tripped out and go too far down that tunnel. As above, so below. And you figure.
As below, so above.
Exactly. So, you know that in my experience, that I know this phenomena is real. Now, you know, where I used to broadcast, you know, they don't know why I know what I do. And it's very possible that the word on the street is that I'm like an artificial intelligence. You know, right, because a girl like me could surely not have had the life experiences or the interest in self-education, nor the background, which of course you and I have talked about a million times, whether it's multi-dimensional aspects of ourself all coming into the center right now, or whether we see it the other way, like, you know, the continual evolution of the lifetimes through time and space and blah, blah, blah. It absolutely is one of those things that is a gift to us. And people are running like scared little punks. But, you know, that's the biggest part of this, Vic, is that although we have all been fragmented, there are some people that cannot connect those pieces, nor do they want to. And that's why life charting is a turnoff for a lot of people. It's a deep path. And we will have.
As you know, my philosophy about that is that the lower worlds were created and finished a long time ago, eons, millions, whatever. So all the possibilities have been worked out. So we're just experiencing a series of possibilities that already exist. So
And
therefore, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, no. So therefore, when we put our attention on these possibilities, they become real. The computer switches from a wave to a particle. And then all of a sudden the particle becomes matter, and then matter becomes part of the illusion. So the important thing to always remember is don't get caught up in the drama, because it can change very rapidly. First of all, it could change within yourself, because this is your universe. And your universe is whatever it is that you created in order for you to have the experiences that you desire. And by you, I mean you as soul. Right. And so when we start to do it from that, start to look at things from that perspective, then all of a sudden you're part of it, but you're not of it. If you know what I mean.
Is that like being in the world but not of it?
Exactly. That's exactly what I was trying to say. Absolutely. And so, you know, and when we're not of it, that means you can be detached. And when you're detached, you can step back, you can look at it, study it, you can love it, you could care for it, you could give it compassion, whatever it is you want, but you're not of it. So that it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to suffer the consequences or whatever it is that comes with that being of it, you know. So And I think, it's very important to keep that perspective in mind.
Hey, nah. I didn't turn the phone down. My bad.
So keeping that keeping that particular perspective in your consciousness is, I think, very, very important. And the hardest thing we have to avoid doing is forgetting, because we learn these things and then we forget and we find ourselves back where we started. And it's sort of like a copy of the bigger picture, that we live in this little microcosm and we keep forgetting. And that's always why we're here primarily, is because we've forgotten so many things. So let's focus on what's the real part of this
All
that
right.
we are. And the rest of it just will flow from that.
Biggie's on the phone. Well, hey, Vic. So let's do a little alchemical experiment. Let's show people what it's like to hold a vibration of love, even when we're at the depths of the gates of hell. You ready for that?
I'm ready to try anything.
That's what I love about you. Now, I'm going to share my screen and try to pull up a video.
Okay.
I've learned a few things while we've been on our separate paths, my friend.
Very good.
Yeah. So can you see the screen where you're at?
Yeah, I can. Sorry about the background. It's barking. It's just my little Boogie and JoJo there.
Hey, we love animals. Check this out, Vic.
Sophia's Emporium. The Inquisition will be going on now, and we'll see what's going to happen.
Wait, I want to see your face. I'm going back. I want to see you.
Oh, this is fine.
Hello. We're just going to hold that vibration. Hey, Vicky. And witness what happened.
Crazy.
Oh, hopefully I can do the screen share thing. I wanted to practice, and I think I got it all. That's good. I just got to cram it tight. Hour 32, right, on that movie?
Yeah, he started about 2 minutes before that, so that's pretty nice. And it's 40, so let him 65. So yeah.
Gotcha. That was wild. The intro wasn't on last week, so I was watching it back. I was like, okay, I'll have to ask Biddy about that.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's someone else.
See, in trying to learn, I thought you said that it was automatic now, but maybe you didn't say that. I don't know.
Well, I did say that, but unfortunately, the countdown that's prepared just corrupted about a minute before the show went live.
And I don't know nothing about that. So, we're opening with that, right? So I've got like 2 minutes. This was hard for me to do, Mr. Vic.
All right.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It hurt.
So you'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah. Mr. Vic, I think that people lose hope because they feel powerless to do anything. Like, I know I can't go out and rescue the little babies that are locked up in a camp somewhere. But I can speak out from a place of love about my own situation.
No, video line is what's video?
and try to help others find solutions.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why do you feel that's necessary for you to do?
Well, because if I wouldn't have shared this with the world and they spun their story, they would have made me out to be something different than what I am. And if you know, and I know that I've been monitored and I've been found to be true, wouldn't you love to be the person to make me dirty or discredit me?
I'm attached to it. I don't remember if it was CS.
I don't know. That comes from a very ego-centered consciousness.
I've been on it 10 or 11 in the morning.
For me to feel that way or do that, that just means that I'm a fear-ridden egotist. Best I can put it.
If I wasn't,
Oh, a lot of people think I'm completely an egomaniac.
So that's what was going on earlier.
But this is my life.
Well, okay.
But I'd never seen that.
And it creates reality.
I didn't.
They could try to do a meeting.
So what are you trying to point here in this particular video that you have on screen?
Well, you see, he's spinning tales about why my video got sabotaged before the show started.
Okay.
And you know how when we used to do the shows, he was real friendly before the show and we would all talk and he would make sure I was relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
If you give somebody the cold shoulder and start treating them differently,
Mm-hmm.
you know how that changes. All of a sudden that flow kind of got a little stagnant.
Right.
And I'm not here for that. I'm here for the never-ending story of love and light. I'm on a roll. I'm on a mission.
Well, good for you.
Well, I just thought it best we document this stuff. Now, what I'm getting ready to do is explain the phenomena, because you got to remember. See this foreshadowing of strange energy in the air?
Mm-hmm.
Spell casting again. And of course, they were hooking up with the master wizard that didn't mention me by name. He kept me anonymous when Mel interviewed him, but he talked all about me. So if two people feel the same way about a person and it's a consensus and they vote like this,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be anywhere where I'm not loved. And I have a problem with love-hate relationships. I find them rather repulsive. And that's why I don't have that vibration, like where I would be one way to you 1 minute and flip on a dime. That's not me. I'm loyal. And I feel like a lot of people, if this would have happened to them, they would give up all hope. I don't want anybody to give up hope at this critical time in the world. I want them to be brave enough to walk their path like the brave Indians are doing, that are defending their land, so that crappy pipeline doesn't make it any more toxic than it already is.
But wouldn't those that are sufficiently evolved consciousness-wise?
Hey, wait, Vic, I can't hear you. Let me turn this off. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, don't you believe that those that are sufficiently evolved and awakened enough in their consciousness will just naturally gravitate to the awakening that you're referring to?
I think they are, and that's why you're seeing such this groundswell of support. You wouldn't believe what's going on behind the scenes, like I said, online with this alternative media community. Because here again, if the mainstream misshaped everything, and then alternative comes in and doesn't do the honor that sharing information is due,
Mm-hmm.
Well, then I'm not a journalist. Do you see what I'm saying? This is on my terms. So, I feel like I am an investigative journalist, and I do take my preparation seriously. Interestingly enough, computer people know that you can alter numbers on views. And when I came on CCN, people were watching. Nobody's
Yeah,
nobody's watching my show, Mr. Vic.
he had said that not to pay attention to those numbers because they swing wildly, and sometimes the numbers, it was almost like as he was saying the numbers are meaningless in this case.
But sweetheart, seriously, if you're watching a pedophilia show that is getting 500 views, then obviously there's some kind of an energy transfer going on. I'm sorry. And I know a lot of people would rather watch a scary, creepy movie with blood and guts than they would like an inspirational love story. I get it. But here again, it is my choice on how I choose to share myself with the world, no one else's.
Right.
You know what? I really don't think that I'm any different than any other dedicated small business person that you would have known in the past would be concerning their mission statement.
Okay.
That's what your buddy Sue says. So, back to this video, okay? I get the evidence in the beginning, and oh boy, do I got a lot of stuff. And then, I share the phenomena because, like I said, a lot of people really don't believe I went through what I went through. And I can respect that because they've never experienced it. And we can never expect anyone that hasn't experienced it to understand what it is. They can only understand it. They can only go like this, all right, and decide if it's real. Or they can stand over it and say, well, this isn't right, and that's not real because I'm the king shit pin a turd ball mountain. And you know me, I mean, shoot, I'm not going to try to control anybody, man, but please, please, please don't anybody try to control me. And I think that we should all learn to be like that with our lovers, with our spouses, with our children, because really we can't control anybody except for ourselves, and we can really do that.
And that's something that I live by, that credo, if you will. I've always felt, and I always, in all my relationships, and even my wife, and whatever, we've been married a long time, and I make sure that she knows that, look, it's about freedom. I'm not here to control you. I'm not here to own you. We want to go through life and share all these wonderful experiences, but I just can't feel in any way that I want to control someone else. I just can't do that. It's just not part of me.
Well, and and I know that if you give that willingly, you're much more loyal than the person that lives in that box.
You're much more what now?
They are much more true than someone that lives in a box and in order to get through the day, behave the way the person imagines them to be. And then, of course, now we get into the problem with the computer. So, in the wee hours or whenever, when nobody's around, a lot of these people, they really believed that they could have a secret life on this computer. And they can't. I mean, they can, they'll get caught. But why not just be forward with yourself from the go? Because like Steiner said, If it is honest and true, then it must be beautiful. So here again in this world, we see beautiful people that actually may have a less attractive inner thing. And, you know, they say that in the realms, for example, let's say an archangel or an angel whose mission is to do something that's not nice, because, you know, they don't all sit on clouds and play harps, right? So let's say you're the angel or whatever, you know, if they come up to you and say, hi, I'm an ugly, hideous demon and I eat babies for breakfast. Well, as long as you don't eat babies for breakfast, that energy is like magnets that push off each other. They go their way, you go your way. I mean, people have to start being honest with themselves. And I hope that our platform allows a comfortable space to do that. Because if you think about it, that's why my journey is so important, because from the time I came online, I had to disclose all of it, the good, bad, and the ugly. There was nowhere to hide. And, you know, these days, I mean, shoot, people think they can go move somewhere and escape it, and God love them, they can't. We have to prepare people for that. At least I think so. But
Yeah, you know, I understand, and I guess we could have a very long philosophical discussion concerning why that is either necessary or unnecessary. But I just prefer to let spirit do its thing and have
and it
everyone
is.
experience. I know, but I'm just saying I'm not going to, me personally, I won't interfere with it. You know, if someone wants to have the experience of living and then dying in a very bad way, you know, I can understand that from a certain perspective. It doesn't mean I have to jump in to save everybody that comes along when I see that type of thing. However, if the situation is such that I feel it moving within myself, that without thinking, it's just an automatic reaction, then that's a whole different story.
You know, they do say that it's a blasphemy, actually, to help someone that can't be helped, because you're wasting your time when you could be interacting on a deeper, fuller level. So you're absolutely right.
And also, you can also inhibit the progress in this timeline for that particular individual. So this individual may have gone through many lifetimes to reach a point where they are going to experience something. And I'm just talking about one timeline, because I think we all have more than one timeline going on at the same time.
I agree.
So we have to be aware of these things. But that's the part of becoming what I refer to as God conscious. You know, I don't like the word God too much because it just has so many connotations. But when we become super conscious and we start to see things from the universal perspective and how all these things flow together to form a tapestry, you know, that's something that I think is very, very important to also keep in mind in this timeline.
Hey, let me ask you a question, Mr. Vic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the very reason that we see this collective reality that we do is because the high majority of people built their God in their own image? They built that God small. And so here again, like when we were talking about dreaming and imagining, we want to build that God as big and loving and every good thing that we could ever possibly imagine, and absolutely magic. That's why I believe that divine intervention is already taking place. So in the same way, I believe that even when you and I speak, that beautiful vibration goes out into the world, into the cosmos, and comes back. So here again, if people are unaware of the art form of managing their thoughts in order to attain a state of bliss, well, okay. Now, we have an expert panel, like I said, of these wonderful people that are going to be coming together.
Mhm.
And maybe there's somebody in the group that really can make that connection for somebody. I mean, it'd just be so cool. And here again, I'm just asking anybody that ever hears this, I mean, what do they really have to lose?
Well,
Right?
again, we wind up in a situation where we have philosophical views that some parts of it grow together, but I think other parts simply don't.
Mhm.
And so again, I have to say that the world is as it should be. It doesn't mean that it's, it can't be, how should I put it? It can't be modified. But in the end, the world is as it should be. So let's just look at each other with love and compassion, help each other when we can, especially when it's asked, and just know that what we're doing is something that we're doing for the betterment of the whole. And that's happening automatically, because a lot of us think, some of us think that we may be helping the whole, and especially when it gets into the old religious philosophies,
Right.
my religion is better than yours, I'm saved, you're not, that kind of nonsense. And I think that this reality is something that has been crafted over many, many eons.
Mhm.
We happen to be at a certain time in this uh, particular timeline that is allowing us to experience something that in many other lifetimes and in timelines is rare. And it's just beautiful, to be able to experience this, because I think that ultimately that's what we're all about, learning to experience, because that's what really truly enlarges us and allows us to grow. It goes far beyond the mental understanding of something. So, we picked this time and this timeline because we want to see what it feels like to go through it, and see what it provides us in terms of our own expansion. And so I see that we have to also just understand that it is the way it is, but at the same time, understand that we want to get something from it. And if what we want to get from it to help others to do things, then by all means, get out there and do it. That's important for you and for whoever wants to have that experience.
Well, and it's important for everybody on flipping Facebook because, for example, whatever force it is that people want to call out and that has a negative impact on our collective experience,
Mm-hmm.
in the end of it, I mean, they just are terrified to create any action that could potentially transmute it. And, they quit believing when they were little, but I never quit believing, and I've seen it transmute. So,
Well, I think it's also, we are, I mean, on the abstract end, our consciousness as humans is being tapped in such a way that we become food, for lack of a better word, sustenance for something else, whether they are the archons or whether they are the demonic forces or whatever. But
right.
we are feeding this stuff by virtue of our fear. And that's the problem that I think a lot of us don't seem to get, is that fear is the chaos within ourselves. And if we don't understand it, it'll always be something that will bind us to this lower reality, to the baser instincts. So we wind up enjoying things that in a more balanced way we would not enjoy, watching people get killed, for example. I was watching this series. I got through the second season, but it was tough to watch. It was called Hannibal Lecter or something like that. Hannibal is a modern day cannibal, and they did the movie Silence of the Lambs, and we started watching the series, and I started telling my wife, I said, this thing has a lot of very powerful psychic energy, and I could just feel it. And she was very disturbed by it. I mean, in fact, she got much more disturbed than I had thought she would. But so I just said, look, let me just finish the season, because there's 6 or 7 more seasons to go. But it's that kind of thing. It's that you could just see this chaotic element being presented to the public and shaping the reality that is heading in a direction just by watching that. Towards a vampirism, we're all going to become food for these things, and that's the message that I'm seeing, and it's just pervasive. So to me, the important thing is, first of all, don't focus on that stuff. But if you really want to understand it, and you can be detached enough and view it, it's probably a good exercise to see, the subliminal components of this, so you can sort of understand how it affects everyone else, and therefore how your world around you is affected. But as David Icke put it, I think he said it very well. The reality we see around us has been crafted, and it's designed. I don't know if he said it's been designed so that we can become food for these people or whatever, these entities, but my goodness, it certainly looks that way. It really does.
Right, and here's an exercise, okay? Now, say if someone thinks about that for a moment, they would automatically assume that, say, actually chewing on somebody would be different than someone drinking someone's fluid versus a parasite that would go like that versus even simple spell casting where mental thought is placed towards a person to do that feeding. So if a person can get through that, well, then they realize that, oh my goodness, they will come to protect themselves on every level. And I think that that's another one of the things that we could surely work into conversation, whether it's, putting on spiritual armor, or whether it's actually using tangible things that would create some kind of a shield, or whether it is simply working with the mind or taking care of themselves. So see, through this whole thing, whether we're talking about lifestyle, whether we're talking about blood type, whether we're talking about the 2 out of 10 poison rule, whether we're talking about the simple counting of poisons, and to not be judgmental about the poisons that we do imbibe, because the old saying goes, you're walking down the street and you stub your toe and you call yourself stupid because you stubbed your toe. It is proven that it will hurt more than if you're walking down the street and you stub your toe and you just brush it off, man. Walk through the pain, transmute it. And I do believe that every human being on the planet now is doing that very thing, whether they want to or not. So, like, back to the question that you would ask of, why would I feel the need to do this? Because in the end, I'm here to be a service to my fellow man, and as long as I get to do it on my terms, Mr. Vic, I'm cool. Now, the minute somebody tells me how to do it,
Mhm.
yeah. So,
Well, you have the free will, but you have your free will to decide to either continue or stop. The important thing to me is not put yourself in the position to begin at the beginning. In other words, if you're flowing the things that are coming through you from your higher self, then you simply won't even experience some of these things. It just won't be part of your reality.
hey, can I share a realization that has arisen in me before we end our little hour-long mini show? Because 1 hour is not enough, and I knew that, but I was worried in the same sense of what if I couldn't work my Zoom Room Pro, and I didn't want to overextend myself.
By the way, it looks to me that you're on your way. You're catching on. All this other stuff, you just have to play with it. It's just all it is. It's learning through scar tissue. You just learn through experience. And so just keep at it. You'll get good. Believe me, I promise
You know I got a lot of scar tissue. So let me tell you this story.
So do I.
Right. All right, so here's your story. You know Joe, the love of my life guy, Joe.
Yes. Mhm.
His dad was the head poobah that worked for Monsanto that sold all our jobs overseas. Oh shit, yeah. Joe grew up very well to do in Diva. He didn't look like the guy you know now. And anyhow, he was someone that was recruited into Project Talent in the MK Ultra program. Yeah, because he's very skilled as an athlete. And then of course his father was abusive to him, and of course, the drinking and the drugs early on. But that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is how I avoided it. And I figured it out the other day, and it's really simple. So I'm going to offer this as an allegory just to explain, even when someone's young, how they can climb out of the box if they want to. So when I was a little girl, my mom got me bowling lessons because I was naturally a good bowler. And the guy that was teaching me said, "Hey, Suze, you're real good, but I want you to throw a curveball." Well, I didn't want to. I didn't want to rack my arm. Do you remember how people used to bowl sidearm in the old days?
Well, yeah, I've bowled a little bit not many years ago, but I should say I bowled, but not a lot.
See, I'm a straight shot. I bowl like I pitch like I bowl, and I talk like I do both. So I refused to throw that curveball, right? Now, at the same time, I was also a pitcher in softball. I was a really good pitcher. I did a straight arm shot. I got the ball in the glove, and my little friends could hit the ball. Well, the coach says, you need to not let them hit the ball so much. You need to throw a windmill. And back in those days, it wasn't like the girls are forced now where they go like this. No wonder everybody's rotator cuffs are gone. They did a slingshot pitch similar to how you would do a curveball on the bowling lane. They didn't take it to this until later. So
yeah, I can see it in my mind's eye.
Yeah, you see it, right. So, it was very stressful being the pitcher of a Bad News Bears softball team, and everybody blamed everything on the pitcher. So, see, I've gone through this guilty by association thing many times. But anyhow,
What religion will do to you. So that's what religion will do to you.
Thank God I wasn't indoctrinated into that, man. See, I was never really in the hard things.
No idea how. Especially the Catholic religion. Oh,
I know.
Puerto Rico, it's kind of like a culture of pain. I mean, these people really want to, beat their chests. It's amazing.
Well,
Please,
and it's just another program. It's just another matrix. And
you got
you know, another
That's
thing that
exactly
we can remind people of every day of their flippin' lives
Yep.
is that they are a divine creation and their body is their temple.
And you are free.
Yes.
You are free.
So back to my pitching
So I
story,
am free. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
because we got to go and we're never going to do another hour show again. You know, we're back to 2 hours. It was just the first one. Anyhow, long story short, I get in high school and my guidance counselor who loves me, who gave me the scholarship to beauty school, that one, he really got angry at me because I would not throw that curveball. Now, if you look at that entire story, you come out with the point of this. It's amazing how that matrix of control will show itself through the people that are closest to you. And so, of course, if you love them and you say, I concede, each time you do that, you're not on your path. So, you know, to this day, my arm works. I can do hair, I can bowl, I can pitch, I can stand on my head. And it's all because I was such a pain in the ass, I wouldn't throw a curveball. So that's the end of my story for today. And you know,
So the moral of the story is,
what is it? Tell me.
I'm asking you.
Oh, I thought you were going to make it up. The moral of the story is stay on the straight path and aim for your pocket. I don't mean the money pocket either. I mean your center.
Okay.
Wherever that pocket is.
Perfect.
Be strong, stay centered, hit your target.
I love it. That's an excellent moral for the story.
Thanks, Mr. Vic. So listen, we got to go, but I can schedule in my Zoom room however we want to schedule. So here's what your assignment is. No pressure. I want you to feel like a butterfly where you just come and go whenever you want. I want you to have carte blanche of whatever subjects that you choose because you are a very multidimensional being. And to hold you down, you know, to one group or try to say, well, you be here or you be there. I just don't really see that with you. So I just want you to be thinking if there was a favorite time that you had that would just be so easy for you to do this, just let me know. Call me on that messenger thing or call me on a phone or whatever, but we'll be talking in the next couple of days. And I will send you this video. Right now it is private.
Okay.
It's amazing how many people can see it though. You know, they're kind of tricky like that. You put the little clock on it.
Now, this particular session, is it something that there are viewers on it now?
Well, who even knows we're doing it? See, that's the truth. Now, that's why you pay CCN $125 a month to send out the show program. But does it really matter if anybody's watching, or is this for us?
I think you're right. That's why I asked you when we were talking about this earlier the week that I said I'd like to know specifically what it is that you're trying to accomplish here, because if it's about promoting your products and doing this stuff with your business, or is it simply something that you want to use as a way of uplifting the world?
Both. So here's what I'm gonna put myself to.
Mm-hmm.
Is I would like to, in the next 48 hours, complete a memo that I can send out to all my dear spiritual family like yourself and outline it. But you know, I have not been asleep all day and I stayed up all night making these movies because if my website gets stolen or my identity gets stolen or I get a nasty virus in my computer or something, I wanted to be prepared.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I really wasn't much of a Girl Scout, but I do know how to survive.
Well, I think, breaking away and doing something independently is up to me. That's the absolutely right way to go.
And Mr. Vic, in the end, like for example, you might not have that much fun hanging out in a Hair Emporium Unplugged format because we'd be talking about girly stuff or hair color.
Mm-hmm.
See what I mean? So you're just going to create your own field of dreams, and I'm going to create my own field of dreams, and everybody else is going to create their own. And I already know that the people that we are going to bring into this family are already in such a place of development that we're going to be safe as babes, tucked in. It's all going to be fine, and we're going to do what we want in this space, and we're going to do it with love.
I get it. Well, I'm looking forward to. I'm sorry, I don't know why I have my voice, but anyway, I'm really happy for you. I think that that you're on the right path here, and I wish you well. If there's anything I can do to help, please please do feel free to contact me. I'll be more than happy to explore your proposals and see what kind of contributions I can make for you.
Thank you, my friend and brother. Appreciate it very much. So, with that, one day a lot of people will see this and they'll say, "You're kidding me. These two never knew each other and they were this good of friends." And by then, everybody will be doing it because, they'll get the message.
It's happening.
It is.
We just have to be patient, but things are changing, and the consciousness is growing and changing, and let's just see where it all goes. I'm hopeful that we'll continue to evolve in a place of love as a society, and people will start to see, the truth about what really does go on.
Well, and also too, we both know this, but for anyone that watches in the future or, people coming into the group, will make sure that they realize, of course, you never want to define or limit your all-chemical creation. Don't give it any limits. I mean, we can change the world. And if we don't, our change is going to be so easy that we create our own new world. Because that's the real truth of it.
That's the famous Gandhi saying that
really,
if you got to change yourself before you can change anything else. So,
well, you and I both know it's true.
I think he said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." I think that was the quote.
Right. I've definitely heard that. All right. Well, do you want to say goodbye to the universe?
Well, much love to you as always. We're always there. We're all one, and we live in the eternal now, and it's important to just remember that. It's about as simple as I could put it for myself.
Right.
I have no answers for anyone else. I just go through my life, and I go through the process of awakening, and I've done a lot of things, and I see lots of potentially beautiful things coming up. So let's just keep at it, see where it takes us. That's part of the fun.
I agree. All right. Well, with that being said then, Mr. Vic, it's time to unplug, and I'll say peace, love, and light from the third cosmic ray in Sue's world, and I'll talk to you on Messenger.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Let's see how we do this. How do we leave, Mr. Vic? Here, I gotta close out my YouTube. I gotta stop share. See, and there we are again.
Been trying to leave all my life.
I know. And from here, I'm gonna end the meeting.
Okay, sweetheart.
All right, I'll talk to
Take
you
care.
soon. Love you.
Okay.
Bye.
Love you.